Hello learners, welcome to geography lesson. Today we'll be doing settlement geography, one of the easiest parts of geography, but we'll be focusing on rural settlement. Okay, before we go any further, I want you guys to understand the concept of settlement in relation to site and the situation. Okay, when we are speaking about a settlement, it is a place where a group of people live in. It can either be a rural or an urban area. That is just a definition of a settlement. As I've said, that it refers to a place where a group of people live in. It can be either a rural area or an urban area. So that is a settlement. It is a place where a group of people live in either a rural or urban area. That is what a settlement. And then again, you guys need to know that when we are speaking about a settlement, it is a place where there are buildings that are used for what? For specific functions. When we are speaking about for specific functions, it's for business purposes, or it can be also to do other functions. All right. So again, you guys need to understand that when we are speaking about a settlement, in a settlement, people in a settlement, they interact regularly with each other and also the surrounding environment. And then again, as I've said, that a settlement, it can be classified into two. It can be either a rural settlement or an urban settlement. All right. So we will discuss that on later when we will be speaking about the rural and also the urban settlement. But the thing that I want you guys to focus on, it is what? A site. Okay. I want us guys to focus on a site. When we are speaking about what? About a site. Then when we are speaking about a site, it is an actual place on which a settlement is built. That is what? Our actual place on which a settlement is built. That is what? That is our site is built. So that is just a definition of what? Of a site. When we are speaking about a site, we are speaking about what? An actual place on which a settlement is built. And then again, I want you guys to understand what? A situation, because we'll be speaking about a settlement in relation to the site and also the situation. When we are speaking about the situation, we are speaking about what? It is the position of a settlement in relation to the surrounding environment. That is what? That is our situation. That is our situation. That is our situation. So when we are speaking about the situation, it is a positioning of a settlement in relationship with the surrounding environment. That is what? Our situation. So you guys need to understand the definitions of these two terms, the site as well as what? As the situation. So there are many factors that influences the site and of the settlement. For instance, when we are speaking about the influences, the factors that influences the site of the settlement, it can be what? The physical factors, the water, your fertile soil, or for grazing. People, they choose the site in relating it to the situation, whether is the place being accessible. People, they choose sites. Is the place near the road, the national road, or is it near the water? So there are many factors. We have the physical factors, which include water, your fertile soil, and also the grazing. And then again, other factors that influences the site is that the economic factors, which include your minerals, especially in Joburg. And then again, the trade and transport factors, again, that influence the location of people when they are choosing what? Their sites. Again, our natural harbors, the bridge point of a river also influences what? The site. So people, they choose to locate on a specific area because of this situation. As I've said, that when we are speaking about the situation, we are speaking about the positioning of a settlement in relation to the surrounding environment. Those can be your physical factors, your economic factors, your trade and transport factors. So these people, these factors, they attract people to come nearer so that they can access them very easily. And then again, you have your social factors, you have your political factors, like the government policies such as communism. It can also affect the site. And then also the historical factors when for defense purposes. So those are the factors that influences the site of what? Of the settlement. As I've mentioned, that we have your physical factors, your economic factors, the trade and transport factors, the political, and also the historical factors. But you guys need to engage on these factors in details. For instance, when you are being asked to elaborate on physical factors that influences the site of a settlement, you need to talk of the water, the national roads, the fertile soil, and also for grazing. And then again, when you are asked to discuss the economic factors, you need to speak about your minerals, again, your harbors, which are near the sea. So obviously, people will choose that. For instance, the fishermen will choose to stay near what? The harbors, because it is so easy for them to do fishing. All right. So I want us guys to classify the two settlements. The two settlements. As I've said, that we have the rural settlement, and also we have what? The urban settlement. So when we are speaking about an urban settlement, it is a settlement, a settlement that is located in towns or cities, and they are multifunctional. That is what? An urban settlement. So when we are speaking about what? An urban settlement, we are speaking about what? A settlement which is located in towns or cities, and it is multifunctional. When we are saying that it is multifunctional, we are saying that on an urban settlement, you can find your secondary activities, you can find your tertiary activities, and also your quaternary activities. So when we are speaking about the secondary activities, it is whereby we are doing the manufacturing of finished goods, such as what? The textiles, the chemicals, the metalworking, and the construction. And then again, when we are speaking about the tertiary activities, we are speaking about the provision of services, including the banking, the tourism, the media and entertainment, and so forth. And then when we are speaking about what? The quaternary activities, the examples of the quaternary activities that are done in urban areas is that we are doing the intellectual activities which are linked to government, research, and also the education. So you find all these activities in your urban settlement. Your secondary activities, your tertiary activities, and also your quaternary activities. So that is what your urban settlement. As I've said, as I've highlighted for you guys, that this is an area of an urban settlement. You can see that it is offering a multifunctional activities such as your secondary activities, your tertiary activities, and your quaternary activities. And then again, let us come to our urban settlement. When we are speaking about about our rural settlement, a rural settlement are located in a countryside and are usually unifunctional. When we are saying rural areas are unifunctional, that means you only find one activities that are being done on that areas. It can be either it's a farming, it can be either what your fishing or your minerals that are being done there. So it can be your farming, your fishing, your mining, and also the forestry. As you guys can see here, Here is farming. This is our rural areas. And then again, here again, this is farming. And you can see this is a rural area. They are using nets for fishing. So our rural areas, these are the areas in the countryside where people are engaged in primary activities such as what? Such as farming, such as your fishing, mining, and forestry. That is what? Your urban areas, your rural areas, sorry. And then we said that when we are speaking about what? About our urban areas, so urban settlement, it is a built settlement like a city or town where people are involved in secondary, your tertiary, and your quaternary activities. So you guys know that as I've articulated before. All right. So, guys, I want us to look at how site and the situation affects the location of a rural settlement. I want us guys to look at how site and the situation affects the location of what? Of the settlement. All right. I want you guys to pay attention on a close look on these pictures that I've shown you guys. So, as I've said that when we are speaking about a site, we are speaking about what? About an actual place on which a settlement is built. And I've said that when we are speaking about a situation, we are speaking about what? The positioning of a settlement in relation to the surrounding environment. So I want us to look on how the site and the situation affects the location of the rural settlement. Okay, so a good site will be classified by the availability of the drinking water from the rivers or the natural springs. For instance, as you can see on our picture A on your left hand side, this one here, you can see guys that this area, it is being classified by what? By the river, which makes it people to locate closer to this area. It is because of what? Of the river that is found along that settlement. And then again, you can see here on your left hand side, you have a river and then you have your floodplain. So people, they prefer to settle or to build houses on floodplains. Why is the case? It is because the floodplains, they are fertile, they have fertile soil, and then again, they are near the river for drinking. And then again, another thing that influences what the site and the situation is the drinking water from the rivers or the natural spring, your wells, and then again your arable land, and then again the building materials. The availability of the building materials also attracts people to stay on a specific settlement. And then again, the fuel for cooking, especially in rural areas, and also the transport routes. All people want to stay in an area where town is accessible very easily. So guys, those were the signs of a good site, or the things that affect the location of what? Of a rural settlement. As I've said that the first one, it is what? The drinking water. Okay, let us erase that one. One, it is what? Drinking water. That is our first point. That affects the location of a rural settlement. And then again, the other thing, arable land. And then again, you will also have what? The fuel. For what? A fuel for cooking purposes. A fuel for what? For cooking purposes. A fuel for cooking purposes. Again, people, they want what? Transport routes. The transport route. An area must be accessible very easily. The transport routes. So these are the things that people often look when they are choosing a settlement. So the drinking water, the available of the water, the arable land, the fuel for cooking purposes, and then the transport routes are also very vital when you are choosing what your settlement or an area to live in. And then again, other influencing factors include your quality of the soil, the relief and the drainage, and also defense, usually on a high vantage points. All right, so that was the effects of the location of what? Of your site and the situation. I want us guys to now look at the settlement patterns. I want us to pay a close attention to what? To our settlement patterns. Another thing that you guys need to know is that when we are speaking about the rural and the urban areas, you need to know that the rural settlements, they show a dispersed patterns on the maps that can be symbolized by what? The squares or the dots that consist of the main house and the outbuilding. And then again, on the urban areas, you guys need to know that they show what? A nucleated patterns where a group of people are living in a congested area or closer to each other. So the squares and dots on this area, it shows the group of people that are living together. So you mostly find it or on urban areas or on villages. So that is how we classify the patterns. You have the dispersed pattern where it is symbolized by the dots. As you can see on the settlement pattern, you can see here we have the two dots, or on our first picture on your left hand side, that settlement is dispersed because people are far from each other. And then as you can see on our third picture there, you have a group of people who are living together and they are nucleated. They are showing what? The pattern of a nucleated people. So guys, now I want you guys to look at the reason. I want us to look at the reason for different shapes of the settlement. Why are people nucleated? Why some settlements are dispersed? Okay, so the most nucleated settlement are classified to according to their shapes. That you guys need to know. And then many physical, human, and cultural factors influences these shapes. And then this can include your relief of an area, such as the mountains, your rivers, and also your plains. And then again, the transport route, as I've said that people want to stay in areas where they can access transport very easily. And then again, the safety. Also, people, when they are choosing settlement, they consider their safety, whether are they safe when they are settling on a certain area. So those are the things that influences what? The shape of the settlements. All right. So let us just look at these settlements. As I've said that you can see the settlement A, it is showing what? A dispersed settlement, meaning that people are far from each other. And then again, we have what? Our linear settlement shape pattern. So when we are speaking about the linear villages, they develop along roads or the rivers. So as you can see, people are living along the line. That can be your river or it can be what? Your road. And then again, we have the nucleated pattern, which can be also be classified as a crossroad pattern. So the crossroad pattern, the third one, these villages, they develop at a crossroad, at the intersection, and they develop what? A star shape. As you can see, that symbolizes a star shape. And then you have also your T shape, like a letter T. Again, those are caused by the roads. And then also you have a circular shape, and then you also have your double pattern. So those are the settlement patterns that you guys need to familiarize yourself with. Okay, so the settlements that are dispersed, that means the people are staying far from each other. And then we have the nucleated patterns, meaning that the people are staying closer to each other. So I want us guys now to look another term that we are going to use when we are speaking about the rural settlement. When we are speaking about what? The rural urban migration. So we have the term that we called a rural urban migration. When we are speaking about the rural urban migration. So when we are speaking about the rural urban migration, we are speaking about what? The movement of people from the rural areas to urban areas. This is what? The movement. The movement. The movement. Okay, my screen is giving me some problems. When we are speaking about the rural urban migration, we are speaking about what? The movement. The movement. Yeah, that's okay now. The movement of people. That is a movement of what? Of people from rural areas into urban areas. So that is what your rural urban migration. So people, they leave the rural areas to live in urban areas, and this is taking place on a global scale, especially in developing countries. So people, they move from their rural areas to what? To the urban areas. And then when people move from rural areas into urban areas, there are many consequences that are being faced, or especially on both cities and again on rural areas. Okay, let us first discuss what is happening when people are living in rural areas. We are also going to look at the term which we called what? A rural depopulation. Depopulation. When we are speaking about the rural depopulation. So when we are speaking about the rural depopulation, we are speaking about what? The decrease in number of people living in what? In rural areas. That is your what? Your rural depopulation. It is what? The decrease. The decrease. Okay. It is your decrease. It is your decrease in number of people living in rural areas. That is what your rural depopulation. So when we are speaking about the rural depopulation, the rural areas become depopulated, and this is resulting in a decline of the functioning. So people, they leave from rural areas because of what? Of the decline of the functions and services, and now those areas, they become what? The ghost towns. So I want us guys to look at the causes of the rural depopulation. So when we are speaking about the causes of the rural depopulation, it can be poverty is the most important reason for rural depopulation, because people, they move from rural areas into urban areas to seek for job opportunities. And then again, another thing that influences the rural depopulation, it is poor healthcare in rural areas, the few education opportunities, the unemployment rate in rural areas, and also the distance from the urban services. Also, all those things, they influence what? The rural depopulation. People, they move from where? From the rural areas because of what? Of the poor healthcare services, the poor educational services, the unemployment rates, and also poverty is the major source of people moving from where? From rural areas into the urban areas. All right. So again, I want us guys to look at the main reason for the rural-urban migration. I want us guys to look at the two terms, the push, and we'll be looking at what? At the push and the pull factors. The push and the pull factors. And when we are speaking about the push factors, we are speaking about the things that pushes people to move from the rural areas into the cities or into the urban areas. And when we are speaking about the pull factors, we are speaking about the things that attracts people from rural areas into the cities or into the urban areas. As you can see here on this picture here, you can see the push factors. The person, the finger is pushing people, and you have what? Your magnet on your pull factors. Those are the things that attracts people from the rural areas to the cities. Okay, so the push factors, again, as I've said, that the few services that are being provided in rural areas pushes people into cities, the lack of job opportunities, and unhappy life. People there, they don't have jobs, they don't work, they don't have money. So all these things, they push people to move from rural areas into urban areas. Again, the poor transport links also pushes people to urban areas. The natural disaster, the floodings that are happening in rural areas, especially in the low-lying areas, your earthquakes and so forth. And then again, the wars also pushes people to move from rural areas into urban areas. And then lastly, the shortage of food, poverty also pushes people to move from the urban areas to move from the rural areas into your urban areas. Okay, now let us look at the pull factors. As I've said, that when we are speaking about the pull factors, we are speaking about the things that attract people from rural areas into what? Into the urban areas. So again, the access to services. In the urban areas, there are more job opportunities, the quality of education that is being offered there, the healthcare services, the quality of healthcare services that are being provided in urban areas attracts people to live on those urban settlements. Again, there are better job opportunities. The more entertainment facilities also attract people to move into urban areas. And then again, people, they move from rural areas in an improved living conditions, especially in urban areas. And then again, people, they move because of the hope for a better way of life. And then lastly, the family links can be also the pull factors that attracts people to move from the rural areas into what? Into the urban areas. All right. So those were the pull and the push factors. So before we end the lesson, I want us guys to look at the few exam questions based on the rural settlement or based on the lesson that we have just learned today. So here is our annexure. We have A and B, and then A, you can see there, you can see a group of people living together. It's a crossroad settlement pattern. And then again, on your area B, you have what? Your dispersed settlement pattern, which is mostly found in rural areas. And then this one also, it can be found in urban areas or both in villages, the nucleated patterns. So I want you guys to check that, and then we'll be looking at these specific questions. Now, let us answer these few questions to see if we have understood our lesson. So the question says here, refer to figure 3.1 showing the rural settlement pattern. Describe below with the rural area. It says match the description below with the rural settlement A or B. Write only A next to the question number. Then they have given us an example. So 3.1 says, a nucleated settlement pattern, is it A or B? And then guys, you can just see here that A, as you can see that A is nucleated. Why is the case? Because there are many people, there are a group of people that are living together. I've said that when people are nucleated, it is whereby a group of people are living together. And you can see at area B that we have a dispersed settlement pattern. You only have 4 farmhouses that are located there when compared to A. So now our question was saying we need to choose whether it's A or B, which is a nucleated pattern. And obviously our answer is going to be A, which shows what? A nucleated settlement pattern. Okay, now lacks privacy. Which one between the two lacks privacy? I'm sure you guys you are also answering at home. Obviously A has the lack of privacy. Why is the case? Because people are together, they don't have much privacy than the people that are living in area B, where there's a dispersed settlement. Here people they don't have their much privacy because they are always together. And then let us look at our question, sharing of farm equipment. Again, area A, again the answer is A, because these people, they live together, they share their resources that they are using for farming. So our 3.1.1 it's A, and then 3.1.2 it's A, and then 3.1.3 it's A. And then safety and security, it is also A, because these people are living together, they are able to protect each other, and they can assist in times of difficulties. They can assist each other in times of difficulties. Then A is also your safe area when you want to live in. So then again, the fragmented, broke up farmland. Obviously, that one it's going to be what? Your fragmented, a broken up farmland. That means it can be what? Your area B. Why is the case? Because many people don't like to live there, and they are dispersed, meaning that they have just shows those areas. And then again, let us look at this one. Far from basic services like shops and schools. Okay, you can just look at this one. Obviously, B, they are far from the shops and school, because they are found on the farmlands far away from other people. And then this one produces large yields, and obviously that is your area B. And then lastly, it requires large amount to practice farming. Obviously it's going to be what? Your area B. So that was just a multiple choice exam question. You can just get your 8 marks as easy as like that. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. We will meet on our second session when we will be doing our urban climate. Thank you.